my little lovely doggies joining us for our practice today, I think. I think she thinks I'm taking her for a walk, which I will do later. Go on then, off you go. She might want to come back. If she comes back, I'll just let her in. So welcome to your Yoga Fit and Nidra Restore class, ladies and gents. So thanks for sharing where you're at this evening. We've got a real little mixture of things going on for everyone, so we'll hopefully get through some things that's going to help you all feel a little bit more put back together. We're going to start in a seated position, so be comfy. Grab your pillow, pop your bottom on it and come into an easy pose. If this starts to not feel comfortable for your hips, maybe try straddling a bolster for a kneeling position, Claire. So just to keep the hips in might just be more kind for you as you begin your practice. Great. And then just make sure you haven't kind of tucked the ankles around each other. You've got one foot in front of the other, with a little bit of space, and you've got loads of leg on the floor. Okay, and then just having a little roll from side to side, just maybe taking the flesh of your bottom, just not pulling it back, but just making sure that your sit bones can reach the ground, and then leaning back as if you're leaning against an imaginary wall. We're going to start with some alternate nostril breathing to begin. So we're going to have the left hand. I'm going to come a bit closer to show you this one. We're going to have your left hand, which I will reverse because you can see me. Your left hand is going to be in this mudra, finger and thumb touching, and just rest the hand on your knee. And then your right hand, you're going to bring in the ring finger. So you've got these two together and then the ring finger down. And then what we're going to do is lean the forehead on those two fingers. So just kind of above the eyebrows, where your third eye is, we're going to rest the head on the fingers. And then you're going to use your little finger to just close over the nostril. So you can either squash the nostril or you can just close it over. And that's probably my preference. So if you can manage just to close the passageway. And then you're going to inhale up through your right nostril. So inhaling a big breath in through your right nostril. When you're ready, you're going to close that over with your thumb and exhale through your left. Then inhale back up that left side. When you get to the top, swap the finger and the thumb and exhale down your right side. Inhale, back up the right side. Exhale, slowly down the left side. We're going to go nice and slowly, elongating the breath. Inhale, back up your left side. Feel a bit taller at the top, and then exhale down the right side. Squeezing in the tummy to push out the last drop of breath. When you're ready, inhale, back up that right side. Big, full, tall breath to the crown of the head. Take the breath across and drop it all the way down the left side of the body as you exhale. Feel yourself sitting a bit more deeply into your sit bones. Inhaling back up that side when you're ready. Changing the breath, exhaling down the other side. Now keep going with that rhythm. Don't worry if you lose it, just give me a little wave and I'll repeat the instructions. Otherwise, just staying with that inhaling and exhaling and really starting now to feel the shape of the breath. Feel the shape of the inhale as it comes in and up, and we feel taller and lighter on that side of the body. And when the breath feels like it's up in the skull, transfer it across to the other side of the skull and then exhale that breath all the way down the other side of the body into the sit bone. Think about a lovely, tall, straight spine, chin down a few degrees, back of the head leaning back with the rest of your body against that imaginary wall, and then relaxing the face, the jaw, the eyes, relaxing the shoulders and the arms, relaxing the thighs and the hips, And feeling the contact your body's making onto the floor. And then feeling that sensation of the breath, taking the fullest inhale in. Feeling light and tall at the top of that breath. Taking the breath across, exhaling all the way down. Feeling a little bit more heavy and grounded at the end of that exhalation. Just going to keep going with this breath just for another minute or so. So make these last few rounds with awareness, noticing the pauses at the top of the inhale, and then the pauses at the end of the exhale. Take your time. Inhaling, having that sense of expansion. And then exhaling, having that sense of kind of squeezing the breath out, drawing the belly in, maybe finding a bit of pelvic floor, feeling the last drop of breath leave the body. Now, wherever you are, we're just going to do one more complete round of breathing. And make sure that you finish by exhaling down your left nostril. And at that point, just bring the hand into the same mudra as the other hand, and with the eyes closed and the chin down, just give yourself a moment to observe how you feel in and around your body. Feeling the touch of your body on the ground. Maybe the air lightly touching your skin. Maybe there's a cool breeze in the room that you're in. And then just feeling maybe a sense of presence, when the mind has a chance to be quiet, and we can just be observing our bodies, observing sensation, noticing the sounds around us, just allowing ourselves to just be in that moment without trying to change it or do anything, or plan ahead, or ask questions, or worry about anything. Letting go of all that future or past thinking, just coming into this moment, kind of giving yourself that little promise that you're going to give this moment to you every moment for the rest of the practice. Maybe making any other intentions that you want to work on this evening. Then we're going to just sit up a little bit taller, gently opening the eyes. Start by bringing the hands together in prayer position and give them a little vigorous rub. Take a deep breath in and a big sigh out through the mouth. So a little bit like Ujjayi breathing. I'm going to breathe in through the nose if you haven't got a cold. Out through the mouth as if you're trying to steam up a mirror held in front of your face. So it's a bit like Darth Vader breathing. And then inhaling, opening the chest, stretch out with your fingertips and breathe into that heart. Exhale, curl yourself up into a little ball. Give yourselves a big hug. Inhale, open the front of the body, stretch the fingers wide. Exhale, crossing the arms the other way, tailbone under, chin in. Inhale, big breath into the heart. Exhale, nice protective, nourishing hug. Inhale, expanding, bringing in anything you need a bit of this evening into your practice. Exhaling, really drawing that in as you wrap your arms around you. Enjoying that sense of touch. And then just moving with your own breath in your own time. Doesn't have to follow my cues exactly. They're just guidance. So making your breath nice and full and stretching out to all 10 fingers and waking up all 10 toes. Stretching the toes as well. And then curling yourself up into that little ball, giving yourself a lovely big hug as you relax the head down. Good. So gently moving the spine is invigorating, is energizing. So we're just going to start with that in our practice this evening. And then as we come back to center, just a couple of shoulder rolls, just taking the shoulders up to the ears, taking them back and dropping them down. So we're just going to do some lovely shoulder rolls here. And then facing the hands forward, start to shoulder roll and let the arms move. And then just keep the shoulders quiet and just circle the hands. I'm going to bring them up to shoulder height. So we're circling around something maybe the size of a tennis ball, stretching your fingers away from you. Take a deep breath in as you sit up as tall as you can. And then start to make your circles a little bit bigger, like a football. Maybe spread the toes if you need to work on your core. Spreading your toes to activate your pelvic floor, maybe drawing your tummy in towards the spine a little bit. Keep breathing, and then when you're ready, bicycle wheels, lovely big circles here. So we're going to focus on up, back and down, just to help with shoulder aches from carrying babies and with heartburn, maybe sitting at our desks or being on our phones a lot. And then let the hands rest, have a little flop as you just kind of curl up again, relax the head, take a big sigh. And then sitting up, we're going to place the hands on top of the shoulders, bring the elbows towards each other, give them a little squeeze, and then inhale, lift the elbows up, take them back, just keep them at shoulder height, and then zip them back together again. So we're not really doing circles, we're doing semicircles. It's a really fantastic one for shoulders. Think about lifting the rib cage up away from the pelvis. Inhale, open the front of the chest, keep the chin lifted. Exhale, squeeze those elbows together. So you're probably feeling any tension, might feel a bit achy across the shoulders. See if you can just do a couple more. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then the last one. Good, now relax those arms down again. A couple of soft little circles with the shoulders. Ease out any of that tension you might have found in your neck or across the shoulders. And then we're going to take the hands behind our backs, interlacing the hands, just palms are towards you. See if you can lift your arms up high, just looking up ever so slightly. Take another breath into the chest and a big sigh out, your Darth Vader breathing. Inhale again. So spreading the toes, start to activate your core. Feel a bit of support around the lower belly as it draws into the spine. Good. And then releasing the arms, another couple of little shoulder rolls here. Okay, so let's undo those legs for a moment. And just bring them out in front of you. Maybe give the knees a little rub if they're feeling a little bit sensitive. And then we're going to bring the legs into 90-90. So you're going to have one leg 90 degrees as you look at it, and then the other leg, it wants to be 90 degrees. So I need to just wiggle my knee back a bit and take my foot out a bit. So I kind of want a lovely 90-90. Then we're going to place the hands down on the floor, maybe either side of the foot and the front knee, and start to lean your body forwards with the longest body you can. So inhale, lengthen the spine. And then exhale, start to walk forwards, walking the hands forwards, maybe coming down onto the elbows with the chin in and just leaning maybe your whole body on that front thigh if you can. You want to start to feel this into the glutes, maybe into the hips. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. So I'm kind of trying to make my spine longer here. So I'm using my hands, pressing my hands and my arms down onto the floor and almost dragging my arms back towards my body to help elongate my head and my heart further away. So there's this equal and opposite force going on. And then around that effort, once you've found it and you've found that lovely work into the glute, into the sit bone on that right side, breathe into that. So can you feel as if you're expanding your right glute, that right bottom? Maybe you can relax down a little bit more as you exhale. And then let's see if we can walk towards our foot. So just taking the head and just taking the head towards your foot. So you might come up away from the ground a little bit here. And then back to the knee. And we're just going to do that little glide, foot to knee, a couple of times. Just seeing how that feels. Keep breathing. And then gently come back up to sitting. So you might be able to just lift up the legs and pivot all the way around to the other side. Depends on how much room you've got. That can be a really lovely move. And then just checking in that the legs are really a good 90-90, that this back foot hasn't sneakily shuffled in behind your bum. And then placing the hands down on the floor. Start to lean over the knee first of all, lengthening your spine forward. Maybe coming down onto the forearms and the hands, drawing your heart forward. And then just settling. Once you've got the shape, you've got the work going on in the glute, start to breathe into that left glute. Lengthening the spine, maybe coming down a little bit lower towards the ground. It can be really useful to still spread the toes and flex them towards their respective knees. So that will give you a little bit more work in the glutes. It's a sensation of almost kicking out through the heels as the toes come back towards their knees. And then maybe we can lengthen the heart forward a couple of millimeters as we settle down over that thigh and look for a moment of ease. We're going to breathe in fully into our whole bodies and exhale that lovely sigh, squeezing the back of the throat as if you're steaming up a mirror held an inch in front of your face. Your lovely Darth Vader breathing. So using the last breath here just to really settle, kind of a moment almost of giving up in the pose, helps you find maybe a bit more space. And then just working your face down towards that foot, seeing how that feels kind of at the other end. And then gliding up and down, knee to foot, knee to foot. Just seeing how that feels through the hips, through the thighs, and then coming back up to center. Well done. So depending on how much space you've got, it can be really fun now just to play with some mobility. So just taking the legs one way and then taking the legs the other way without sort of walking anywhere. Like your bottom might try and move you across the room, but just see if you can explore that movement. And if you can't do it with the hands up, don't worry, you can have the hands down for a little bit of support. But we're just kind of window washing those hips and those legs. Great, well done. Now we're going to come around into a kneeling position. So taking your pillow, placing it underneath your bottom. If you get pins and needles here, have extra pillows, or feel free to just drop back into easy pose where we started. So sitting up is great for digestion. So anything going on with heartburn, constipation, sluggish digestive systems, it's all about the kneeling. So we're going to do a few things for neck and shoulders whilst being in this position is going to help your digestion. So let's start with the head. We're going to drop the chin into the chest, interlace the hands and let the hands rest on the head. So we're going to just lean our bodies down into those sit bones. So let your torso feel heavy onto the sit bones, and then just allow the arms to feel a little bit heavier. Drawing the head down and the chin in. So we're kind of giving ourselves a really lovely double chin here. Now take a big breath into the back of the neck and a big exhale as you relax. Keep the rest of your spine tall and straight. Just the neck is working. Trying to open up the scruff of the neck with the next breath or two. And then gently release the hands down. We're going to look up towards the ceiling. This time we're going to close the mouth and really stretch the throat. And be careful here that you don't hinge the head all the way back. You don't want to lose the length in the back of the neck. There's a bit of work here, but we do want to close the mouth and stretch the throat. So feeling the heaviness of the head here is going to start to strengthen those muscles down the front of the neck and into the top of the chest and the shoulders. And then you're breathing into the throat, expanding that space. Maybe thinking about activating your communications, making them really clear, maybe really honest with ourselves, with others. And then bringing the head back down. Okay, so tilt one ear to one shoulder, place that hand on the head, and then bring the other arm around the back. So folding it at the elbow, so your hand's coming out the other side of the waist. It's just going to stabilize your shoulder. And then breathing into the neck, lifting up through the head, and then exhaling, relaxing the head over towards the opposite shoulder. So ear to shoulders, getting a little bit closer with every exhalation. And then the one that feels spacious, we're finding a line of space from the ear down to the edge of the shoulder. Now we're going to breathe into that space. Big inhale, expand. Big exhale, release. And you might find your head comes into this pose just another millimeter more. We're going to gently release the arms, swapping them around and tilting your head to the other side. So moving slowly, relaxing your shoulders, sending those shoulder blades down and back, and then allowing that arm just to feel a little bit heavier on the head. So I'm not pulling the head, I'm just resting the arm and then breathing into the side of my neck. Exhaling, big sigh to relax. And maybe release the head into your pose just another millimeter. Good. Breathing in, breathing out. And then gently release the head. Couple of little shoulder rolls here, moving the head gently up and down as we circle those shoulders. Good. Then we're going to try to get back into those shoulders again. So we're going to take the hands behind our backs, interlace them one more time, start to open up across the chest, the collarbones and the shoulders, and you really send those shoulder bones back a little bit. Let the heart lift, and then draw your front ribs down ever so slightly. So we've got two things going on here. We've got the heart lifting, and then the front ribs immediately below the heart drawing down. Inhale into the heart. Exhale, big sigh. Start to find your pelvic floor. So squeezing the muscles between your legs as if you're trying not to have a wee, trying not to break wind. You might find you're actually pressing your feet and your shins down onto the floor a little bit more strongly as you find your pelvic floor. And then you might find that lower belly, somewhere between the belly button and the pubic bone, just drawing in, scooping in and up towards the spine. Good, take a big breath in and out here. And then we're going to explore coming into a little forward bend. So Kim, just take this one really gently. Just going to relax the arms down. And as we forward bend down towards child's pose, we're going to let the head rest on the floor and then see if we can bring the arms all the way up and over again. So see how that feels in the shoulders as you breathe in and out there. Now as you rest into the pose, taking some lovely big sighs, you might feel a release behind the arms. You might be able to get the arms a little bit further up and over the head. So again, no pushing or pulling. You just relax, and if you make a bit of space, you kind of sneak into it. Good. Take it gently. And then when you're ready, drop the arms all the way down, place the hands on the floor and slowly unround yourself. Last thing to come up is going to be the head. I'm going to roll the shoulders here. Great. Okay, so from here, let's come into all fours. Maybe using the pillow under your knees if you need a little bit more support. Knees and feet hip distance apart. Hands nice and wide with a little bend in the elbows. And then let's just kind of balance on the very, very tips of our toes. So kind of ballerina points for the toes. Now, when you do that, it's going to help you find where your spine really wants to be. So around the back of the waist and the tailbone, up to the shoulder blades, there'll be a sense of support there. So if you put your feet back on the floor and let your back collapse into an arch, that's one kind of position. And then if you press your toes back onto the floor and let your tailbone roll away from the head, this will feel a lot flatter around the back of the waist, and that's what we're looking for. So almost imagine you're balancing a tray here of drinks and we don't want to spill them. You can stay on belly toes, or you can put your feet down as long as you can make sure you're not going to drop that tray. And then from there, we're going to do some lovely tiny circles over the hands and the knees. Now let's close the eyes today, if that feels good for you. If not, just peer through those eyelashes, looking softly at the floor, somewhere directly beneath you. And as we move slowly, start to think about taking weight into each hand and then into each knee. We're doing tiny circles, moving slowly with more awareness. Sometimes when we do the big moves or the fast moves, we kind of miss the really interesting things. And then see if you can feel the whole of your spine. So notice the back of your head and all of your vertebrae around the neck, running all the way down between the shoulder blades, all the way down to the back of the waist, and all the way to the tailbone. And can you feel the whole spine moving in one piece? Don't worry if you can't. We're not used to looking at the back of the body. So if it feels a bit patchy, that's fine. Just have another go. Back of the head, trace that imaginary line, vertebrae by vertebrae, all the way down to the tip of the tailbone. And then we're going to do our circles the other way. So just breathing in fully, coming back into that ujjayi breath, that big sigh, like you're steaming up a mirror. If you can maintain that breath throughout most of the practice, it will have a very regulating effect on your nervous system. We'll just keep that going a little bit tonight. So just lean into one hand, then the other, then one knee, then the other. Good. And then as we come back to center, we're just going to lift the hands up, but press down onto all 10 fingertips. So it's like I've made like a little, a bit closer, like I've made a little kind of cage with my hands and I'm just resting on my fingertips. So make sure they kind of don't collapse in, kind of bend the knuckles out a little bit if you can. We're going to take weight here. This is great for strengthening the bones. It's taking a little bit of weight into the hands. Lean your shoulders forwards as you just work to strengthen those fingers. Breathing in and out a few breaths. Maybe feeling some work coming up through the arms. Little bend in those elbows. And then let's press the hands back down. We're going to turn them the other way now. So we're going to place the back of the hands on the floor so you can see the palms. Your elbows might well be bent. And then slowly start to straighten the arms if you can and lean back slightly into your knees. So just looking at the range of motion that we've got in the wrists, spreading the fingers out wide, maybe starting to notice where you might feel this further up the forearms. Just see how that feels. And then placing the hands back down on the floor, this time we're going to spin the hands around. So we're turning the fingers to face our knees. So the front of your wrists are facing the top of your mat. And we're going to just lean into the hands that way round. And again, just lean back ever so slightly just to feel up through the front of the forearms. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. When you're ready, come back to center. This time, spin the hands in towards each other. So the fingers end up facing towards the knees one more time, but you've rotated the whole of the arm. There you go, you guys have got it, well done. Just taking that weight through the structure as you breathe in and out. Good, and then dropping down onto the forearms, we're just going to do some circles here, just to ease out any tension from the neck and the shoulders. Take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. And then let's do some the other way. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Circling the opposite way. Releasing stuff around the shoulder blades, keeping the neck nice and long. Looking for that sense of fluidity. Grounding into all the parts of your body that's in touch with the floor. And then gently we're going to come back up into all fours. So I'm going to look for a little bit of strengthening work here. So we're just going to take our toes under and lift the knees up off the ground an inch. And then just start to feel the work through your body as we hold this for a little while. So just the knees are up off the floor, and we're going to be breathing here. Maybe feeling the thighs working. Can we find a bit of pelvic floor and core? Let's press down into the hands to lift the heart away from the ground. See if we can hold it for another 3, 2, and 1, and then drop those knees down. We're going to open the knees as wide as the mat, toes touch, rest all the way back into your child's pose, and have a lovely big sigh there. It can feel really lovely here to try to wiggle the arms towards each other, get your elbows down on the ground, and once the elbows are on the floor, bring the hands into prayer position. And then place the hands back onto your shoulders or your neck. And then walking the elbows a little bit further away from you, start to settle your heart down towards the floor. So with the hands kind of behind your head, you get a bit of a reference point under the fingers as to what's going on in the spine. Now let's think about inhaling and elongating the front of the body. Exhaling, relaxing across the back of the body, around the back of the heart. And maybe just walking those elbows out 1 millimeter at a time away from you, flattening your armpits and your heart down to the ground. So breathing into wherever you're feeling a bit of tension, a bit of holding. Take a big breath in as if you're inflating that area like a big balloon. And then exhale, deflate completely, soften, let it go. Let that air out, let the muscles release. So every exhale here, look for a sensation of letting go, of undoing. So we kind of find a bit of a shape to hang out in, and then we explore setting it up right, getting that alignment right. And then we have to explore letting go of the tension, because if we just stay in alignment, we're going to stay really tense. So can we find that shape and relax and let the ground hold us? And then with that, we find more space and we can breathe properly. So really let that breath in and out. So inhaling, placing the hands on the floor, bring the knees in a little bit so they're still hip distance apart. And then we're going to take the arms out in front of us. Now you might want to try it with one hand if you haven't done it before, or you can go for both hands. And then we're just going to drop the head and the heart towards the ground, wiggling those fingers away from you, lifting the shoulders up towards the ceiling, but dropping the heart down. Pressing into the hands, send your bottom back away from the hands, kind of up towards the ceiling. So you're looking for the longest body that you can make. Good. Hands are active, but maybe the elbows are up off the floor, the shoulders are up. You're making like a hammock-like sling from your hips down to the hands with your body. And just breathing into that. Really lovely, everyone. Good. Now we're going to walk ourselves back up and just have a little play with moving into downward dog. So fingers nice and spread, elbows a little bit bent, tuck those toes under. I'm just going to move forward and back to start off with. And as we move back, let your head drop in and let yourself round. And then as you come forward, maybe just look towards the top of the mat. And then come back and round into that little ball. And maybe just pick up the knees. And then drop the knees. And come back towards all fours. So I want you to kind of tease yourself into downward dog. So rather than just rush and do the shape you think you normally make, can we just roll forward and back into the hands, back into the knees, toes are tucked under, roll the knees off the floor, and just do this weird little kind of squatting movement first. And then once you've got the knees up off the floor, on a lovely big exhale, let that breath go out of the body and just start to send the heels towards the ground. So we might not come all the way up into our dog, our knees might be quite bent, and then we're going to come back down again. And can we kind of take 3 or 4 attempts to come up towards our dog? So we just send those heels to the floor, send the hips to the ceiling, and then maybe we come back down to the ground again. So you're kind of coming in and out, almost just kissing downward dog, and then coming back down again. The most interesting bit of this for me is when the knees are just off the floor, we have to use a lot of work in those legs to uncurl them. So send the heels to the ground, to lift the hips to the ceiling. And actually it's all in the leg. The arms and the body should stay quite still. So see if you can find that one more time. Kind of send your bottom back to the heels. The arms are quite long. The head's kind of staying where it is. The bottom's just coming up to the sky. And this time when you get there, come high up onto the toes. So let's stretch out those feet. Heels as high as you can, knees nice and bent. Press into the hands. And then drop down into both heels as if you're trying to get them towards the floor. So we're going for the calves, the Achilles. As we press into the hands, lift your bottom up. Press into the toes, dropping the Achilles down, but can you make space in the front of the ankle? Find length up the front of the shin. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Now we're going to lift the right leg up towards the ceiling. So coming into a 3-legged dog. You can point the toes or flex them. And then we're going to take that leg all the way forward and place it underneath the right hand. So let's keep the back leg up off the floor if you can. If that's too much for you tonight, the other option is dropping down onto that back knee. So yogi's choice, you guys decide. But if you've got the leg up, we're going to press into that front foot. And then on an inhale, we're slowly going to bring the arms up so they're over the head. So we're not coming all the way up straight away. We're in a long diagonal line. So squeezing your legs as if you're squeezing them towards a center line on your mat. Slowly start to inhale as you bring your head and your chest up into your full warrior pose. Good. Hips are forwards, reaching out with the fingers up towards the ceiling. We're just going to hold this here for a few breaths. See if we can just drop our pelvises down and then take the hands down behind your backs. We're going to interlace the hands again, opening up the chest. Lifting the arms up away from the body. So see if you can lift that back thigh up. Press into the back heel. Lift that back knee up. Bend the front knee over the ankle. Now you can stay here in this pose. So Kim, again, just be careful because we're going to move into a forward bend. Otherwise, we're just going to fold at the hips, keeping the hands where they are. Start to bring your chest down towards that front knee and inside of it. And then let the head relax as you maybe bring the arms up and over the head. So just going to where you can, and then breathing at that point where you can rest at the end of the pose. I'm just going to come out of it so I can see what you guys are all doing. Good, so just playing around with your humble warrior, seeing if you can release around those shoulders. We're going to just hold it for 3, for 2, and for 1. And we're going to come out the way we came in. So gently start to inhale and lift the body, letting the arms come back down towards your bottom. Inhaling back up to the ceiling. Exhaling, hands back to the floor. We're going to drop down onto the back knee this time. Inhale, bring your arms back up to the ceiling. And then exhale, we're just going to let the hips lunge down towards the ground. Inhale, straighten the front leg. Lift up the toes. You might want to place the hands on the hips if you feel a bit wobbly. And lean forward. So we're keeping the spine straight. And we're going for a bit of a calf, hamstring open down that front leg. So lift your front toes up. Front toes up, there you go. Inhale, lift up through the front of the body. Exhale, fold your body down towards that front leg. And then press the foot down, and we're changing it. We're going to drop into the lunge, lift the arm up. So we're moving from the deep lunge into a kind of half Hanuman, hands on the hips, forward bend, toes up, get into the back of the leg. When you're ready, place the foot on the floor, roll the pelvis forward, inhale, come back up. Brilliant, so just doing that move, just 2 or 3 more times, maybe dropping the chest a little bit lower, and then dropping the pelvis a little bit lower. Good. On the next go, we're going to place the hands on the floor and step all the way back up into our downward dog. Have the hands quite wide, it will make it a bit easier. This time bending one knee deeply and then the other, having a little walk on the mat. So after that, downward dog ought to feel quite relaxing. So just taking a moment here to take a big sigh as you pedal out the legs. Now drop the right heel to the floor. Inhale, lift the left leg up to the ceiling. Maybe point the toes or flex the heel, whatever's good for you. Really reach up as tall as you can with that leg. And then on your next inhale, step it all the way up to where your left hand was going to be. We're going to keep the back leg up if you can. If not, drop it down onto the knee. And then just stabilize the front leg. So make sure your front knee is over the ankle. If anything, it's going towards the baby toe side of the foot. So lifting up the back thigh, slowly start to inhale. Bring your arms level with the ears. And then slowly start to carry on inhaling or take a new breath as you lift up your torso and you hinge all the way up into your warrior. Lovely. Keep pressing out through that back heel. Lifting up the heart, but dropping that front rib cage down and in. Taking the hands behind your back. Interlacing the fingers, lifting the hands up away from your bottom. And then moving towards your humble warrior. So big inhale to start off with. Exhale, lengthen forward. And slowly bring your shoulder to the knee. Maybe just inside the knee as you relax the head. And lift the arms up and over the head as far as you can. Start to drop your pelvis down. Take a few breaths here. I'm just going to come out and see how you're doing. Well done. Good. Breathing in and breathing out. So Kim, if you don't want to do full kind of humble warrior, you could do with the arms by the side, coming into like arrowhead, which is a really strong strengthening pose. That might feel really nice for your back and your body. If you're all the way down in your humble warrior, take a couple more breaths here. See if you can just get the arms to come up and over and relax between those shoulder blades. And then inhale, slowly coming all the way up and out. Good. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor. I'm going to drop down onto that back knee. And then inhale, come back up. Now we're going to explore that kind of lunge Hanuman maneuver. So we're going to take the foot down onto the floor, send the knee over the ankle, drop the pelvis down as we lift up through the front of the body. This should feel lovely through that back leg, hip, psoas muscle. And then exhale, we just press back, lift up the toes, press that front heel down. Try and straighten the spine here. So the secret is to stick your tailbone out behind you as much as you can. And that will really get into the back of the hamstring as well as the calf. And just maneuver between those two extreme points, nice and gently, with control, with awareness, with your breath. Just taking your time and just seeing what's arising in your body. Notice the bits that feel challenging, that you try to avoid. See if you can maybe spend a little bit longer on those bits, rather than try to push them away with resistance. Can we kind of hang out with them, make friends with them, and welcome them in? Remember to keep breathing. Lovely big inhales in. Lovely big exhales out. Maybe pausing at the end of that inhale, where there's that natural pause in the breath. And then maybe pausing at the end of that exhale. Where's that lovely space to hang out in? Good. Now we're going to place our hands, next time you come up, we're going to place the hands down on the floor and press ourselves back up into one more downward dog. And just relax there with very slightly bent knees. Press into the hands to lengthen the spine to the ceiling. Be careful not to drop the heart too much. We don't want to turn into the saggy hammock here. We want to be straight. Hands, shoulders, hips. So maybe bend the knees a little bit more and get the bottom up a little bit higher. There you go. Move through the shoulders. As you spread the hands, use the inner hand around the thumb and the outer hand around the little finger. Brilliant, everybody. Well done. And then from here, let's just come into our lovely plank position. So dropping the hips, holding our plank, pressing out through the heels, pressing into the hands, feeling the whole core engage. So finding a bit of ha breath or S breath to squeeze through the pelvic floor and draw the tummy in. And then either coming onto the knees for the next bit, if you want to make it a bit easier, if you haven't done this one before, or just sending the shoulders forward, bending the elbows and gently, slowly dropping the chest down into chaturanga until you can lie completely on the ground. So either the knees, chest and chin down, or you really take the whole body on that low drop to the earth. Take the hands out to your sides like little aeroplane wings behind you. And we're going to start to press the hips down into the floor. The feet are hip distance apart. We're lengthening the legs away from us and the arms. So imagine puppet strings pulling you in different directions. It's going to lift the head up off the ground. And you're going to breathe here, just working on strengthening your back. Take a deep breath in. Exhale into your pelvis. Press the hips into the floor. Reach out with the hands and the feet. See if you can hold it for 3, for 2, and for 1. Well done. Let's come down onto the floor. Turn the head to the side. Palms facing up, toes touching, heels flopping out. And just take a big breath into your back here. So just let that go. Lovely big sigh. We're going to do a second set. So forehead down, lengthen the arms and the legs away, press the hips down, and then inhale, start to glide. Find a lightness through the body. So look for that moment of ease. Once you've found that shape, what can you do to make this easier? If we were going to stay here for 10 minutes, how would you adjust inside to make it sustainable? breathe into that space. I'm going to hold it for 3. Arms, legs higher. For 2. And for 1. And then relax, turning the head the other way. Completely flop here. Take a big sigh in and out. Feel the lower back rising and falling with the breath. And we're going to gently turn around onto our backs. So either pushing back into a child's pose, sitting up, turning around and sitting down again. Or if you're okay, just take your arm out in front of you and roll to that side. So just rolling all the way around onto the back. We're not going to do too many back things this evening, but just make sure the back of the head feels nice and supported on the floor. So let's have the knees bent, the feet on the ground, and we're going to interlace the hands and just cradle the back of the head. So lift the head off the floor about an inch. Now relax into the scruff of the neck. See if you can elongate the scruff of the neck as you sigh through it. Let the head feel heavy in the hands. And then just start to kind of almost, can't ever think of a good way to describe this, but you're just taking your elbows and just zigzagging them up and down. So just moving your elbows forward and back. And as you move your elbows forward and back, parallel to each other, it's going to move your head from left to right. Now I want you to imagine that I'm holding your head and you can rest it completely in my hands. So empty your shoulders of effort, let the head feel heavy, and imagine I'm gently giving your head and your neck a little massage to release any tension that might be there. Take a big sigh almost out through the back of the shoulders into the mat. And then as you bring the head to center, keeping the chin in a little bit, just gently bring the head back to the ground and release the hands out to the sides. Now with the arms, we're going to bring them into cactus arms this evening. So making a little 90 degrees like we did with the legs, 90 degrees with the arms, taking them out to the sides and probably just rolling those shoulder blades down and in. So lifting up the shoulders and wiggling the blades down and in to flatten that back out onto the floor. If you can't get your elbows and wrists on the ground, maybe bring your hands more out to the side or even down by your sides. We want the arms to rest on the floor. And then with the lower legs, we're just going to bring the soles of the feet together and let the thighs and the knees drop out. So just opening the legs and taking a moment here. So it can feel quite nice to maybe have a little wobble into one sit bone then the other. But see how it feels for your body. You might just prefer to be still and quiet. It can feel quite good to kind of activate the feet and squeeze them into the groins. And then relax the legs. You might find a little bit more tension goes. And then it's great to find the breath here. So big breath into the belly. Big breath kind of into the buttocks, into the hips, and into the thighs. And then exhale, let it all go. So we're really using those exhales as a way to release tension. This is a great thing for your back. If you've had any niggles in the back, resting in this position can be a real equalizer for the spine. So just breathing into the back of your body, feeling heavy in the back of the head, the arms, the back of the shoulders. Noticing those bits that are in contact with the mat. Feeling heavy around the sacrum, the top of the pelvis that's resting on the ground, the edges of the feet, and then everything else is pretty much off the floor. So just gently breathing into your whole body, feeling that sense of grounding, the bits that are touching the ground, and then that sense of lightness, the bits that are off the floor. I'm going to place the hands down underneath the thighs, gently lift the thighs back together again. And then we're going to lengthen the legs out in front of us. So first of all, point the toes, bring the arms over the head, and just enjoy a stretch. Just really go for the lovely big stretch out on the ground. Shoulders move away from you up towards the ears, trying to lengthen the legs away from you. And then start to press into the feet and the shoulders, and it almost feels like you could lift your bottom off the floor. And in fact you can, but we'll come back to that maybe next week. So just head and shoulders and feet pressed down. See if you can get the lightness around your bottom. And then relax back onto the ground. Now we're going to flex the toes, so toes up towards the ceiling, kick out through the heels. We're going to lift the right leg up and make that 90 degrees again with the right leg. And then have your left hand come over to the outside edge of your right knee. We're going to basically roll ourselves over onto our left side, pretty much. The foot's going to rest on the floor. The knee's about 6 inches off the ground, and the head's on the ground. So we don't want that right knee to touch the floor. Keep it hovering and keep your foot active. So flex your toes, toes towards the knees, feet are stretching. Now take your right arm and just fold it all the way back towards the ground, out to the right side of you, and look out towards your right thumb. So you're coming into a really lovely twist. Maybe you can rest your elbows on the ground. Now that top hip, that right hip, just roll it down towards your left foot. It's probably going to roll 2 or 3 inches further away from your waist. See if you can find that space around the hip. And then just breathe in here, the biggest breath into the belly, the biggest breath into the shoulders, and exhale, can you relax? Just keep the feet active, keep your hands active. So I mean, spread the toes, spread the fingers, make that little hole in the center of the palms like a plunger, lift up the arches of the feet, and then everything else in between can relax. If you've got the hands and the feet working, you're going to support your frame. Just taking a couple more breaths in here. Lovely for any backache, shoulder ache, anything to do with like menstrual cramps in the tummy, all that kind of things. Really lovely with this one. And then we're gently going to just ease our way back to center, lengthening that leg out, flexing the toes, bending the left knee. So feet are awake, right hand to the outside edge of the left knee, roll pretty much over to your right. So your right foot's pretty much resting along the floor. The left knee's about 6 inches off the floor, and then roll that left hip down away from your face. So you've got loads of space around that hip. It usually wants to scrunch up into the waist, so see if you can just ease it away from you. Now we're going to gently glide that left arm back down and rest it as completely as you can on the ground. Hopefully getting the shoulder down, looking out towards that left thumb. So active hands and feet, everything else relaxed. Inhale to the hands and feet, exhale, soften all the bits in the middle. Breathe into a soft belly, exhale, release through the spine. Allow your spine to come into this beautiful twist. Breathe in behind the shoulder blade, let it all melt. Let any niggles kind of be ironed out with your exhalation. So once we've found that shape, we've got that little bit of work in the hands and the feet. Looking at the corner of our eyes, can we soften and rest and let the ground hold us? Maybe noticing the weight under your hip, that midpoint that's supporting it, and then breathe again. Breathe freely, fully, and gently come back to center. So when we get back to center this time, I'm going to move towards Shavasana for our relaxation. But if you want to do any other move before you get there, You might want to do a little bit of happy baby, holding onto the knees and rolling to the sides. You might want to hold onto the feet, knees to the armpits, and have a little roll side to side. All of this is just amazing if it's right for you. Marie, it's probably not going to be right for you, so maybe avoid these ones. And then you might want to do just another little stretchy out, so feet down, arms over your head, just go for that other lovely big stretch. And then when you're ready, finding your Shavasana, so shoulders down under, folding the shoulder blades under, palms facing up, maybe 6 or 8 inches away from the side of your body, feet hip distance apart, toes flopping out to the sides so that you can relax across the front of your hips. Chin down a bit so the chin's not jutting up to the sky. And if you need a little pillow under your head for a bit of support there, go ahead and take it. If anybody's not particularly comfortable on their backs, you're very welcome to curl up on your side or use pillows under your knees. Whatever you need to do to be 100% comfortable, just take it. So I invite you to close the eyes if you haven't already. And if that doesn't feel comfortable for you, just peering out through those soft eyelashes. And we're going to kind of let go of trying to do anything to the breath, but just take a couple of sighs maybe to release the last bit of tension. Big sigh. And then just let the breath come and go. Feeling the belly rising and falling. So you scan through the body, note any sensations in and around your body. Often we can feel the work that we've just done, like a sense of aliveness in different parts of the body, maybe a sense of movement, heart beating, blood circulating, cells repairing. How much detail can you observe? And then can you allow the head just to rest a little bit more heavy onto your mat or pillow? Relaxing all the muscles around your eyes, letting the eyes sink into the back of the head. Relaxing the jaw so the teeth are slightly apart. And on your next little exhalation, just softening the whole of the face and the head and the neck. Feeling that sense of support from the ground beneath you. And then moving your awareness down the neck into the shoulders. Maybe just feeling a sense of openness across the collarbones. Softness in the sockets. Moving down the forearms into the elbows. What can you relax in there? Moving down the lower arm into the wrists. Noticing the skin on the back of your hands. Sensations in your fingertips. Sensations in the center of the palm. And allow your arms and your hands to completely relax. Just this evening, send your hands a little feeling of love for all the work that they've been doing for you. All the things they've held all week. Send them that feeling of appreciation. And then moving your awareness into your hips, feeling space between the hips, feeling that lower back really planted, rooting down into the earth. And as you just breathe gently in and out, feeling that soft belly rising and falling. Sending a little bit of love to your digestive system, to your reproductive system, to your respiratory system. Just knowing how it all works so wonderfully without us even thinking about it. Just let it all know it's doing a really good job. Thank your body for all the health that you have. And then moving down into those thighs. Can you let them feel a little bit more heavy? Can you feel the bones relax? Into the knees. Down through the shins and the calves. Down into the ankles and the feet. Feeling the tops of the feet, the soles, and into all 10 toes. And send your feet a little bit of love. They're our foundations, they carry us around every day. They hold us up, they root us down. Just send them a bit of love, a bit of appreciation. And then allow your awareness to rest on the center of your forehead. Just notice that sensation. Focusing on it with a little bit of gentle awareness. As you feel your whole body kind of melting into the space around you. Having a little idea of what one with the universe might actually feel like. And just enjoying that sensation. Maybe looking for it when you drift off to sleep tonight. Or when you wake up slowly in the morning. Or when you catch yourself just having a moment looking at the trees or listening to the birds. Those moments of being. Finding that sensation of being connected with everything. And when you're ready, try not to disturb yourself too much, but just very carefully turn yourself over onto your side and just relax there for a moment, keeping the eyes closed, taking a little sigh. Just to give yourself that little bit of time to ease out of Shavasana gently and kindly. And as you curl up on your side, maybe once more just feeling that support from the ground. You don't have to go anywhere. It's always there. That sense of stability just from the ground. And then listening to all the sounds around you in your room, maybe outside, You might even be able to hear the seagulls outside my window. Just notice all the different noises. Notice what you're touching, maybe the fabric of your clothes or the air on your skin. As you take a deep breath into your body, just begin to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Gently bringing in some movement. Taking another deep breath in. Opening the eyes. It's really nice at the end of Shavasana when you've got your eyes open, just to take that moment to really feel how you feel with the eyes open, being awake, being present. So you know you can take this feeling with you off the mat into the rest of the evening, into the week ahead. So just think about pressing save on how you feel right now. And then when you are ready to move, another big inhale, just press into the ground and gently spiral yourself back up into a seated position.